ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wandavision series review. This is the season finale. We're going to get into a bunch of spoilers. I am the Scarlet Witch, Trash Snail, and I'm joined by...
I was about to say the white Kirklin Patzer, but I don't know if I want to say that, so I'm the snow. I'm the snow Kirklin Patzer.
Yeah, go Snow. That's what we call the White
I
Vision. Yeah.
don't want
I am the Ralph Taylorfield.
And I am the Wicked Witch of the South.
I like
There we
that.
go.
That's good. That's a good reference.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we do. Taylor, where can they find us?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse is our Facebook. Be sure to check us out on our Facebook because we have the community-based Godzilla MonsterVerse poll popping off. It is a hoot.
It's a hoot. Go Jet Jaguar. As always, you can find everything down below. The podcast feed, the Patreon feeds. Join on YouTube, watch live, and get in the chat. We're doing it quick because we got lots to talk about tonight, but everything is down below. And we thank you all for your support, as always, because we could not do this without each and every one of you. So we are going to talk about spoilers for WandaVision after we give our overalls here. And I guess it's going to be crazy because at the end, Kirklin, we're going to actually rate the season because we said we wouldn't until it was over. So, Kirklin, I will start with you as somebody. Controversial takes. Last week after 9, you got some flack this week. But where were you this week as far as non-spoilers? How did the season come to a close for you? Are you satisfied with what we got in episode 9 here?
I am 100% satisfied with this, and I am going to have to double back what I said last week. I think, like, in retrospective, now that I've seen this episode, I am happy with what I got. Some of the issues I had, other than, like, the Salem stuff, which I am happy with now, without getting into spoilers on my reasoning on that. But, just, like, I had some grimes with, like, just, like, Agatha's like little hand motions that she was doing to do her magic and stuff, but like it's grown on me. Again, it's only been 2 episodes, but I'm okay with it now. I love the visuals in this episode. I thought this was like a stellar finale, and
Stellar, wow.
yeah, I guess we rate this at the end. So
Yeah.
but overall, I am so happy with this finale. Made me feel things. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk spoilers, so I will pass it along to one of you fine gentlemen.
All I have to say, my boy, Fractured Wolf in the chat, you've been here since episode 1. Shout out, man. I hope you're with us with Falcon, Winter Soldier, Loki, everything like that. It's good to support. But Clay, you were on the same thing where you had some, not as much as Kirkland. Kirkland completely hated the episode last week, but you had some problems. I just joke, of course. You had some problems. How did this come to a close for you?
Yeah, non-spoilers. It was great. I will say I actually got to have the chance to, right before the finale, went back to episode 8. I got a good chunk of it in before I had to jump off and actually watch the finale. But it helped with, my nitpicks, and they were nitpicks. They were definitely nitpicks, nothing like concrete into like hating the franchise or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's something to quickly get over. And especially with what we're going to be getting into, I'm very happy with the outcome. So,
Yeah, I loved the finale. It's tough because it's just like I'm excited to talk about a lot of things. I think they did answer lots. I think, which is pretty good. I think that there's some answers that I thought were like, meh, all right. We kind of not even saw that coming, but just kind of like, okay, that's the route we went with it. Maybe didn't do the greatest. I think this episode, my biggest con with it was the same as it was. Oh, I can't remember what episode it was. Maybe it was episode 5, but it was just, or maybe even the first episode we got with Monica Rambeau and the whole flashback where lots of humor didn't work for me. Lots of the humor in this episode didn't work for me. I'm not a fan of, I don't mind in big final battles when there is some sort of jokes here and there, but there was just some jokes placed a little bit where I was like, okay, I didn't need that. But overall, I think they did a great job finishing it out. I think they closed a lot of doors, but opened some which are very intriguing. And I think, especially near those last 10 minutes, I was starting to get worried. I was like, we still have like a lot of things that I kind of want to know what's going to happen. And I think those last 10 minutes
was all credits.
What? Well, okay. The last 10 minutes before the credits just knocked it out of the park, and everyone's been great in this show. Catherine Hahn, Paul Bettany, but just got shot. Elizabeth Olsen. She's just like skyrocket. I just call her now the queen in the MCU because she just has been through such a journey in this episode. And you got to think about what she's done this entire series from episode 1 to now. She just hit home run after home run every week, whether it should be super funny, dramatic, sad, action packed, everything. And this just if this is what, and I have some problems with the finale, I have some problems with the season. It's not a perfect thing. It's not like I think the best thing the MCU's ever done, but it's one of my favorite things the MCU's ever done. And to me, it's just like if this is what the MCU on Disney Plus is going to be, I'm pretty satisfied with it. If we can hit this bar pretty much every time, and I'm not expecting the heights because I think this got to some pretty heights, but if we can kind of get that average quality, I'm very happy with it. So Taylor, your non-spoiler thoughts on the finale of WandaVision?
Yeah, this episode I really, really, really enjoyed. And going through all of my favorite MCU moments, I think there was a moment in this episode that's probably somehow, like, tentatively right now, it's like my top 3 or top 5 like favorite
Top
moments.
3?
Yeah, like it's
Whoa.
just there's something that they did with it, and it just it got me. It was like the fish hook for me. So yeah, it's just in retrospect, like looking back at just when we did like that back to back episodes 1 and 2, and just where we've come and where we're at
Yeah.
now, it's just absolutely crazy. And again, like, yeah, Elizabeth Olsen was just absolutely fantastic. Everything that she has done in her development and in this show has been incredible. Paul Bettany, absolutely. There's all these characters was just, it was just such a awesome different perspective from the norm where it was superheroes and everything. I mean, like, we're finally just breaking through that threshold towards more like the mystic arts into magic, and it just really was so awesome to get this world just to finally debut for us, as Marvel fans. So I'm so excited where this episode is going to break off into the MCU and like the films and other shows and everything. So again, this is definitely a top tier one for me.
Yeah, I'll be excited one day once we actually, because I know it's a movie versus TV shows, but I'm still gonna rank it in the MCU one time and see where it fits. But like, it sounds weird to say I'm gonna let it sit, but it's definitely in my top 10. I don't know if it's a top 5, but it's close because I just love how weird it got, and I think they did at least stick the landing. I think even if I have like some problems with this finale or some things I might have been disappointed by, it was still a really good finale that. It could have been a lot worse. Like, Clay, you watch Titans with me, you know what can happen. Like, I know that's like a joke to go to, but it's like that happened. The finales are not an easy thing to do, to wrap up some stuff and keep them open, and they did it. So anything non-spoilers.
I think that's a little fraudulent to be able to compare how many hours would this series be to like a 2-hour
it's like
movie?
4 something versus.
Like, I feel like you're getting so much more content in like a series if you're comparing it to a movie.
I agree, but that's still what I'm going to do, Kirkland. I'm going to live my life.
Okay.
I'm going to rank it
All
how
right.
I want. You know, I'm not going to just have a little WandaVision
I'm
off to the
just doing
side
what
there.
you do to me and just question all my thoughts.
I never do that. I never. I'm open and honest with everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, strap in because we are about to jump into spoilers after this ad break right now. Okay, we're jumping in. Where the fuck do we want to start? Okay, I want to get the elephant in the room. I want to move it out of the way, and because we're going to talk about, just because I think it might be a low point, let's talk about the boner in the room. Ralph Boner was revealed to be Evan Peters, or vice versa. So we had been revealed that he was kind of a lackey as far as we knew, but he was under controlled because he had this necklace on. I was a little disappointed, not even the fact of, like, I had told myself all week, he's a nobody. I was prepping myself for that. He pretty much is. I was hoping for the J.K. Simmons, he's a new Quicksilver from a different multiverse, just not the X-Men one. But it looks like he's a nobody. I did get something right weeks ago when I said she had taken over Ralph's house as like cover. I did predict that, so I'm happy about that, but he was gone, and I think the thing that disappointed me is not that I was disappointed he was not like a Quicksilver, but also that we didn't get anything more after that. I would have liked to even seen him in the streets. I'm guessing that's because they were trying to keep him a secret, but like even Fractured Wolf was like, well, maybe it's not answered, and I was wondering if that was going to be one of the end credit scenes where he was still Ralph, but he still had the speed, and I was like, oh shit, what do I do? Like, I guess I'm maybe a superhero now, but it's just like, I think it is really just a write-off, and it was just a stunt casting to get us worked up. And I guess I just wish we lived in the world where it didn't leak, because I think if we were not for months talking about what does this mean, if we literally only would have had these 4 weeks to process it, it would have been like, oh, that was really cool. It's just cast. But because we heard about this in like last July when the podcast network started, for months we've been talking about like what could it be. So that didn't hurt my finale as far as that. I just wish that we maybe got a little bit more there, but I guess he was just a dude taking over. And I am a little bummed just because I love Evan Peters and I loved his Quicksilver. And even if we got Summer Edition like JK is doing Far From Home, I would have loved it. Maybe there's a slight chance, but I'm going to say this was it. And yeah, I'm a little disappointed, but it doesn't hurt the full quality show. But it was a gut punch early on. I was like, oh, damn, one down. So, Kirklin, I want to ask you, because you said they did everything right in this finale, but I was surprised because
Did I say that? I
you
think I
said something like
I
that.
think I said
I'll
it
play the
was a
tape
stellar
back. I think you
finale,
said
yeah.
it was as good as The Godfather.
Right.
You said no, but where were you? Because I know you were some of that same thing. Maybe even more so than me, as far as if he's just a lackey, I'm going to be a little PO'd.
So, yeah, I remember talking about that, and then like as I was just marinating on it all week, and I'm just like, fuck, he's totally gonna be a lackey, you know? Like I'm just having these thoughts with myself. I feel like I'm undecided on how pissed off I am about that, and I also feel like the way that he was like just not talked about, like he was just in the room and then he's just not.
Yeah.
Back in my mind, I'm like, multiverse madness, you know, maybe they do have him coming back. Like I still have a little shimmer of hope in there. Again, it's like 15% confidence.
15, that's high. I consider 15% that
15?
we'll see him again. I
Yeah,
think 15 is high. Yeah.
well, that's where I'm feeling. I think I'm happy with that percentage there, because I don't know, it's not like they're just like they killed them off or anything. Like it's you know, it's left unclear there. But I will say though, there was a lot of good things that like followed that kind of like just made me forget about it. So I feel like maybe that's why I'm not so upset about it. Again, I'm gonna rewatch the series and then see, you know, just how I stew on that. But as of right now, I'm not as upset as I thought I was gonna be, honestly. And maybe that's just my shimmer, my little 15% of hope that I will see him again in there. But I don't know, like because the more I think about it, I am pretty choked that they're just going for like the cheap little cameo thing there. It's just like, oh look, we got Evan Peters, and then especially the fact that they like gave him, you know, Pietro's powers and all these things. But I understand that if you want to make the argument that it was just Agatha giving like a Pietro, you know, just to fuck with Wanda's mind and all these things. Again, I think I'm just a little like I'm unclear personally on like how I feel on it, because it's so raw, and there's other things that just overpowered that reveal to me, that I'm just thinking of more than that. So
I think you're 100% right, because you said something about like the back half. There's so much stuff you kind of not forgot about it, but kind of wrote off. I was like, okay, maybe I didn't love that, but there's other stuff that was great. I was the same way, because I did not like that reveal, obviously, because I was hoping for something else. But then I didn't like the boner joke either. I really didn't like. I just thought that was just like.
I thought he was gonna correct her. I thought he was gonna be like, it's Bonner.
Yeah, and
like
he was
that,
just like boner, and I just like. I think though, like if there's a scissor reel of like bad MCU jokes, that was in it, and I hate when they do that shit. It's like in Doctor Strange when they make the Beyonce jokes. It's just like who the sorry, but who the fuck's writing this? Who, like, if you can write that line last week, it was like, but what is grief but love persevering? But then you write this like the Ralph Boner joke. It's like
different writer. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's just like that's where it is. Like I love the MCU. I think it's my favorite franchise as far as live action movies. I think the quality they've done is great, but there's just times where it's just like, do you always just gotta go for that fucking joke? So at the beginning, I was actually a little worried for the finale overall, because I had that, and I think there was just a few more quips happening. And I was like, I don't need like happy hour when we're about to like get really serious. And luckily, I feel like about 10 minutes in, it shifts to getting really serious. I think once we get into Wanda realizing she fucking like was hurting all these people, it was like, oh yeah, this is a dark show. But Clay, what did you feel about the boner?
I did not like the boner at all. But mainly, I want to say this. I was never really big into his cameo before the show. Like I heard that he was going to have a cameo. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, because the last time I saw him was Days of Future Past. I haven't seen Apocalypse at all. So I didn't see that crazy scene in the X Mansion where he saves everybody. Like I see it all the time on Twitter, but I've just never seen the actual movie. So when he came up here, I was like, okay, this is gonna be fun. You know, we all fed into the theories. That's the best part about this show is that they, you know, had us talking crazy amounts of time about it.
Mm-hmm.
But to know that he was just a lackey hurts just a little bit. Now I am with Kirklin. I'm not gonna go as far as 15%. I'm gonna dial it back to a very low 5%.
You're telling me there's a
Because-
chance.
Exactly, because in my heart of hearts, you know, Monica takes away the necklace and then he just freaks out,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't see anything else. You don't see
Yeah.
any type of resolution to it at all. And for me, I'm like, maybe Multiverse of Madness has something like a sliver, that 5% of something. Because I mean, if he was the only person to come out of the X-Men movies, I think everyone would be okay with it.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly
yeah.
think everybody would be okay with it because he's the only person that really, other than Michael Fassbender or
Michael Fassbender.
It is 3:00.
Oh
Sorry
no,
about
I know
that.
you get all
Do
the
not
credit in the
blame you.
world, but
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that name. If he opens up a burger joint, we know what he's calling it.
Michael Fassbender, and then Xavier, freaking
Stewart
Patrick
or
Stewart.
McAvoy or
McAvoy.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Other than those two, his that actor for Quicksilver is the only person that people really talk about, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So everybody else being like thrown to the wayside, I don't think would be a problem.
I
So-
feel also because those other characters kind of had a resolution. Now, like McAvoy, obviously it was a younger version of like Patrick Stewart and stuff like that. But I still think it's okay to just bring over someone like Evan Peters, Quicksilver, who I don't think we got the full potential of what that character can do,
No,
honestly.
not at
So
all.
No.
and like I
You
feel
never
like there's
watched
so many
Dark
more
Phoenix
layers.
Clay, but they just write him off in like 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah, you're not missing much on Apocalypse.
Oh, really?
Like, you can easily just go on YouTube and watch that mansion scene. 'Cause
Jean
that
Grey
was the
breaks
only,
his
like,
leg, and then he's out for the whole movie. So because he can't run, obviously.
Ugh, fuck those movies.
Taylor, how's your boner doing over there?
Oh, it's going. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly. Like, I'm not disappointed at all. In short, like I'm not disappointed at all with Evan Peters.
Well, yeah,
reveal.
because you're a big
So,
Aaron Taylor Johnson stan, and you hate the X-Men.
I
so-
well, at the end of the day, again, like I really do like Quicksilver in general as a hero. I do like Evan Peters and his scenes in the X-Men verse. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm definitely an Aaron Taylor Johnson fan for sure. So
Did you like his humor in this? Yeah.
I was
I
Like,
feel like that was
honestly,
that
like,
was Taylor.
the
all
boner
over.
thing really caught me off guard, but the whole like everything else just really I was laughing at when he
Dude,
was
I'm
just
I'm
like
I'm in your boat, definitely.
It was
Like when he's
so
playing the
good.
Anybody
guitar and stuff,
explain
I
the
liked
super
it.
strength? Can anybody explain that?
I guess
think
just
what
that
was
necklace.
is just really
right?
fast,
That's
right?
what. Yeah.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, like but that's the same thing. They never like the way I take it, I don't have the percentage like you guys. I just take it as like once that necklace is gone, he's just a dude now.
Oh,
Like,
he's
does
just a
that
dude. Yeah, he's
just a
he doesn't
boner.
have- yeah, he's just a boner.
Just
Which
Mr. Boner.
again, I kind of feel like that name is kind of like tossed in there for that reason. He's just a boner or whatever. But I again,
Fuck.
when he's blending his like smoothie milkshake, he's just like he's just living in the attic of this house. Like I don't know, he was
He-
just hilarious.
So here's the thing. That's just Evan Peters. He's just so fucking good at whatever you give him. Like watch American Horror Story. That show is shit 75% of the time, but he's always good because he's such a good actor. There is a way that the same way Scarlet Witch is now a witch and not just an enhanced, there is a way, and I think there is a percentage where, because they took that necklace off, but they didn't show him do anything, if they go, hey, enough people did really like him, and we saw the uproar, we could easily spin this like, oh no, he still has the powers somehow. He is still Ralph Boner, which I'm not a big fan of. I would have preferred the JK route, but it's like, Like, because then it's just like he's just the dude. Because even if he becomes Quicksilver and he keeps the powers and he goes, "Hey, I'm really fast and I want to help you guys out," he'll still always be Ralph Boner. So that's why, like, I don't think he's coming. Like, his name is Ralph Boner.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be a part of the fucking Avengers or X-Men. Are you kidding me? He's
The new
Ralph
Avengers,
Boner.
yeah, leading Ralph Boner. No, but my only counter to that would be technically, like, although he was wearing a necklace that Agatha bewitched, that was still in the hex, right? So that technically could have been changed by Wanda.
Well, I don't know, because I don't think it was changed by Wanda, because it seemed like this is all her Agatha's own magic, right? Like it's her creating this magic.
Just this one
inside,
house?
So yeah, unless when Wanda put up the ruins on the hex area, then maybe it would have canceled out even any spell that was already conjured. Maybe it would have canceled out. I don't know.
It's like a dead man tells no tales situation, Taylor. Destroy that one thing, gets all the rid of the tails in
Maybe.
the sea. Yeah.
This is just a random tangent because it made me laugh when I thought of it. When you guys were talking about like names like him, Ralph Boner in the Avengers and New Avengers, I was thinking, well, they can't call him Quicksilver. They'd have to call him like Quick Boner or something like that.
No, they'd have to call him Quicksilver just because his
Morning
name's
wood.
Boner. Like, there's no way. Like, because technically people are always like, well, Aaron Taylor Johnson was never called Quicksilver, the same way she was in Scarlet Witch, right? So that's why people are like, well, maybe he'll be Pietro, but Evan Peters will be Quicksilver. And there's still a hope, I guess, but his name will always be in the Wikipedia, Ralph Quicksilver Boner. And it's just like, I think that boat has sailed. So
I think like if I rewatch the show and like multiple times, honestly, I feel like it might just go worse and worse for me. It's just like, oh my god, I can't.
show
believe
or
they
the
actually went with
episode?
that. Sorry, like the name,
Oh.
like because for
like
me,
his story.
like
yeah.
it kind of just got swept under the rug just over these big events that happened that we haven't even talked about yet. So I feel like the more I watch it, the more I'll just be like in disbelief that they actually went with that name.
All I'll say is for me to look at the positives is we got to have Evan Peters for an episode have some fun with Elizabeth Olsen and play in this MCU universe for a little bit. Is the result the greatest? Maybe not. But would I take it away? Would if they said, like, let's say we were gonna do the Quicksilver thing, but it wasn't Aaron Taylor Johnson, it was just some other random actor and we're doing that, then sure. I would still like Evan Peters, and we got to see him in the MCU play around for a little bit. Yeah, I think that. And like I said, it's not even like it's because it's him. I just think it's kind of like very like middle school joke to go for. And they do that in the MCU sometimes. But I just think in this finale, it didn't fit, or with that character, in my opinion, or Monica. Like, I don't know. It's just a serious moment. These kids' lives are on the line, and Monica's questioning him about his name being Boner. But I digress. Do we have anything to talk about? This may be the last time we ever see Evan Peters, so it was nice for a nice little cameo. They got the trend for a bit.
It's a good thing they didn't, like, again, you're talking about them bringing in like a random actor or something. It's a good thing they didn't like really screw with people and bring in like Michael Fassbender to play Quicksilver, and that's just to really fuck with people.
Okay, that would have been
Or Fast Burger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fast
Fast
Burger.
Burger.
That's who I
Yeah.
want. Fast Burger,
I'm
Fast
never
Burger,
gonna
and
let-
Boner
I'm
Adventures.
never gonna let that do.
Oh no, of course not.
Uh,
What do we want to talk about next? We got a lot. Go
about-
ahead. Yeah, Taylor,
Oh,
lead the way.
Taylor.
Okay,
Lead the way
so
for me.
I'm gonna let this segue to the next thing, because my favorite scene that I just love is when we got Snow Vision and Dream Vision just talking, like that moment when he's like, my main protocol or priority is to eliminate the Vision, and Vision just drops like, well, our new Vision, and then they have that whole thing about Theseus' ship and everything. I'm like, oh my god.
They're
I
dropping like
love
big
this.
morality bombs there. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel so dumb watching these two smart dudes talk right now.
I was just soaking up that conversation, and like I have to go and rewatch it many times over because I just loved everything about that. It was so good, and then just like Snow Vision's facial expression, just figuring and pondering things out, like it was so good. I love smart, tactful conversation like that.
I wanna film like Taylor, Taylor, like talking like that. So definitely learn this, and then you can monologue with yourself. But
Okay.
no, I definitely wanted to go there, so I'm glad you brought that up. I absolutely love that scene. Going into this episode, I was worried that Snow Vision was just gonna be like a big bad that they just defeat, and then we don't ever see this guy again.
It was
And
like that for the first half.
No,
I was like, oh,
100%.
we're going that route. Yeah.
But like I love the action sequences that we got, but I was like, unfortunately, I feel like this is going to be the end of him. But then I am so happy too that it's just he just disappeared and we didn't see him again. Like I am so excited to see him again, whatever it might be in.
It builds the hype. Like,
Yeah.
how did you guys feel when, again, like something wrong is gonna happen, but when Snow Vision lands and he does the class like Wanda, and then he starts like you
Oh,
hear
yeah.
the cracking, it's like, oh, this is
I thought her eyes were
horrible.
just gonna like start juicing or something. Yeah,
that was a great moment because it's just like you had that recognition of one another, but then just that, like, again, we've talked about before, but the horror movie type of turn, because it's like a Pet Cemetery situation where, you know, sometimes dead is better, and she's just like, Vision, is that really you? And just the look on her face, because it's just like, man, is this the way I'm gonna go out? Vision's my boyfriend's dead body's gonna kill me. This is horrifying. Like, and
Popping
like
you
if
like a grape. Jeez.
yeah.
and like, yeah, that would have been like just a very painful way to go out too. So I loved that introduction of Snow Vision a lot. I think that was very well done. And then the good Vision just came out and uppercut him out of the way, but really well done with Olsen and everything like that.
Yeah, no, I like. I don't think she would have been able to save herself either in that moment. I mean, I guess technically she did because she did make the Dream Vision, whatever we're calling him. But yeah, that was a really interesting turn because I was kind of waiting for it, but I didn't think he was just gonna squeeze the grape like Clay said. But yeah, no, I loved his just like, I don't know, his demeanor that he had. Like he was just really creepy, and like his facial features, he just looked really angry and like just like a bad guy. And I pretty much loved all the stuff that we got hit with him in there. And I just love that aesthetic, man. Just the all white suit, it looks so dope. I
There
really
were
liked
some scenes where he looked a little weird, and I think it was more so just because of what was going around, like around him. Like when he crashed into the what was it, a trailer or something, and then
Yeah.
he started walking out, and you know, it's the heat waves and everything passing through, and it looked a little weird there. But I honestly, when they were having the discussion, I genuinely thought Snow Vision was gonna blow himself up because he was like,
I did
"Crap,
too.
I'm the real Vision."
I thought that they were
game
gonna do
over.
that trick of like that you have to destroy Vision. I am Vision. So I'm actually glad they didn't do that because I thought, oh, that would have been such an easy way out. Because now he just fucking flew up to the sky and he's gone. So it's like he's out there, and
But he's
I
also
want.
got the memories, right? Of like
Well,
actual.
this is the
He's got some
does he,
self-reflection to do.
but that's the thing. I think he has the memories, but he has them in a way where he doesn't have the emotion. So it's like
Yeah.
if let's say you got knocked unconscious, Kirkland, and you forgot everything, but we had a video of your entire life. So you'd be watching 50 First Dates. Have you seen 50 First Dates with Drew
Oh, yeah.
Barrymore and Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
I think that's Vision right now, where he has all these memories, but he doesn't have the emotions attached to him. It's almost like Vision a few weeks ago when he's like, I know this happened, but it feels like it happened to a completely different person, which was the case. It turned out he wasn't the real Vision. So I think this is the same thing for him. I think what they'll do is right now he won't have love for Wanda, but eventually that will come back again and he'll grow that, which gives me hope that Wanda, because I had predicted in Phase 4 she's going to die. I think she's going to stick around a lot longer now, especially with him, because I don't know if he's in Doctor Strange Multiverse's Madness, but maybe kind of like in Justice League or DCU, how Lois is the key for Superman. Maybe Vision is the key for, you know, Wanda eventually down the road. I don't know, but this gives me hope that she's sticking around longer than Doctor Strange, because I think she's just like hidden fucking home runs right now, as I said. So Taylor, you got that ET finger up.
Oh yeah. So just to clarify now, Dream Vision did not upload all of his memories into Snow Vision, correct? He just unlocked that
No.
firewall, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, they're just backed up there, and they're hiding them and everything like that.
Because he
so.
even told him that like here I helped you, but I still have all the experience. Like he basically told him that he has all the experience within Westview or whatever.
Mhm.
But that begs the question: when do you think we will see Snow Vision next?
Like
Good
phase
question.
phase 8, phase 9.
Wow.
Save him for the long run.
Got a
when
lot
my
of
daughters are
reflecting to do, yeah.
graduating. Jesus.
I think it'll be. I honestly think that it will be Multiverse of Madness, and we'll talk the reasons why because of in credits. But also, how did y'all feel about the one person Paul Bettany wanted to work with, the cameo?
Yeah,
The Luke Skywalker cameo.
I did not like that, and that's where I think that's gonna be the tough thing with this finale. As I end up enjoying it, but I talk about some Marvel Alliance that they do have a risk of getting other people disappointed because the aerospace engineer turned out to be nobody. You're not getting this big cameo, which everyone thought was an X-Men or whatnot. Even if those things didn't happen, it was revealed that Evan Peters was a true Quicksilver. I think people will be like, oh, well, we got that. We didn't get that. So a lot of these things that we theorized for weeks, that people will say, oh, yeah, it's fun. It is. But there's people that will take the other opposite route of they got too hyped or it kind of tampered with their expectations, so it hurt it. It did hurt mine a little, but not enough to really go against the show. But I think that if the design was just to get people to talk about, then great. Paul Bettany and MC did their job, but I think it's kind of a shitty move to do that. I get Paul Bettany if he would just went on his own, was being cute, like, oh, I have this kid, but you've been doing this for over 10 years. You know the game. So if it was accidentally someone, and I do think it was accidentally, because the fact that on Good Morning America he revealed that today, I think they were like, hey, dude, you got to get out in front this, because at least prep them a few hours for people to be like, oh, there is no big cameo or anything like that. And I did think we'll get into that first end credit scene. We were going to get some sort of cameo. We kind of did, but I thought it was going to be a bit bigger. It's like, oh, here we go. But yeah, I'm not a fan of them doing that. I'm not a fan of building the fake hype, because I think that just leads to disappointment, I think, in my opinion. You know, it's fine to say, like, oh, I got a stellar finale or great effects, this and that, like very blanket stuff. That's fine. But the whole Luke Skywalker canon thing was like, and maybe, but the thing is, Elizabeth, those were different comments. So I think Elizabeth Olsen was saying Evan Peters was the Luke Skywalker cameo, and I love Elizabeth Olsen as much as the next person, but that's definitely not tracking for me, especially if he is just Boner now. I'm not going to say Ralph Boner was the same level as Luke Skywalker, which the other thing is...
he looked better. Jesus.
Yeah, he wasn't the CGI fucking garfoffle mess. But, like, the one thing I will say is, and I forgot to mention Snowvision, I liked everything they did, because we got to see the bad, like, Logan Terminator version fight, and then we got the sophisticated talk. I loved all that. I love that he is alive. I don't know if he'll be in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. It's tough. I think if he is, it's, like, near the end or an end credit scene. I think that's going to be her own type of journey, but I'm not confident on that. The other thing is that rabbit, for as far as right now, Agatha, was nothing. So we can officially say in this show there was no Mephisto whatsoever. For weeks we talked about, and I tweeted out a few weeks ago, I'm like, I'm gonna laugh so much Mephisto's not on this show, and he wasn't. He wasn't even an end credit scene to be like he's behind everything. There was just no Mephisto at all. It was just Wanda and Agatha, and it's kind of funny that it went down that way. So that rabbit is probably just crushing that house, unfortunately.
Do you think there's a chance that they could throw Snowvision into Armor Wars?
Ooh. Again, I would think it could be an end credit scene, because you would imagine he would want to get in touch with his roots, right? And with no Stark there, Rhodey or Pepper's probably the next best thing, right? So I don't think you're out of the realm of possibility for I think the next time we see Vision is an end credit stinger. I don't think he's announced for something, or like people have been saying, he's a part of the Young Avengers and maybe he's just like the leader, and that could be it, because we'll talk about the end credit scene, but there might be some kids still kicking around. So I think whenever he's back, it'll be end credit. But Armor Wars is not the realm of possibility. I think you're in a ballpark. What about you, Kirklin? Do you have any theories of when we could see Snowvision?
I don't think
In the mutants.
I'm gonna say like 40% chance we see him in Multiverse of Madness, and I feel like even if it's like an end credit scene, like maybe something like that. I think it's pretty bold to just have him fuck off and then we don't touch him for like 3 movies or something like that. I don't know. Like I'm not. Again, something I have to stew on and really, go reflect like him, go off into the mountains, wherever the hell he is.
Yeah, like where did he go? Like where did he go?
Go see.
I would say like
Carol
I guess
Danvers or something. Yeah, I don't know.
He went to Mars.
He went to Mars to be like Dr. Manhattan, just sit there and think about his life. Yeah, he bumps into this blue cock guy.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't have a cock, but
comes back with a giant cock. Yeah.
yeah, all blue. Yeah. Hi, Wanda. Well, hello, Vision. Lots of things have changed. Let's see. I wonder. First we'll take our second ad break, and then I got something to get into. So we're going to take an ad break. So I want to talk about this because Adrian Fort Movies in our chat said, how is Wanda any different than Thanos? I want to talk about it because that was also a big turn point, right? We're going to talk about Agatha, but they're getting a big fight, everything like that. And I loved the effects of Agatha like taking the powers like she did last episode. Her like hands getting all wrinkly and gross and more than wrinkly, like decrepit. But to me, so we got that moment of she lands in Westview and Agatha, as she says, cuts the strings off the meat puppets. I really like. There's for every boner line, there's some really good dialogue as well. So she says that, and we see the whole town turning on her. Again, I love the horror vibes. Very just like Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of in a way. So they're all looking at her, everything like that. And then at one moment she flipped and threw like those like strangleholds on them with magic.
Yeah.
That was because at first I thought, oh, it's just Agatha like triggering. It's like, no, Scarlet did that. I think the difference is, and we'll get into it because I think the end credits also points to her being an antagonist, maybe not a villain, but still an antagonist. The difference is Thanos. So Wanda thought she was doing all these things for these people and was helping. She didn't have the same stuff as Vision when Vision touched the mine and Norm was like saying it was hurt. She just thought, I'm giving everyone they want, the dream life, and they should be happy. Clearly they weren't. Clearly she misread that whole situation and they were in a lot of pain. They were scared. But the thing is, once she realized that, Adrian, she let them out. Thanos was just like, oh, you guys don't want me to kill half the population of the world? Well, I'm still going to do it. Where eventually one was like, oh, you don't want me to do this? You're right. This is bad. So that's why I don't think she's full villain. She's an antagonist, or she's like a anti-hero who has done some bad things. It's, you know, she was trying to do things for the right reasons but hurt some people. Where Thanos, like, yeah, okay, you could argue he's trying to do things for the right reason, but like, come on, he's still killing like billions of people, where she was maybe hurting like a town of 100 and she was like, oh, this is fucked up, I can't do this. So she might do some more things indirectly. I think having the Darkhold in her possession is not going to lead to good things. Agatha even said as much, but I think that's the difference, that Thanos wouldn't give a fuck. He'd just keep going, and because like he's right, where she was like, no, this is wrong, I can't do this. So anybody else got thoughts on Wanda's little kind of epiphany of the town was not really for this little adventure show she was on?
I thought it was freaking awesome visually.
Yeah.
You know, we saw the kids kind of have the revelation first, and then we saw it actually happen. But we do like learning that the Darkhold was actually what it was instead of just like a fan theory. That was actually, you know, something that did come into fruition, which I thought was very, very cool. This whole thing that, you know, the Scarlet Witch is supposed to come out to be something greater than the Sorcerer Supreme and all of that storyline. Great. That all was awesome. And just to show like how like this whole process of episode 1 all the way to the finale is Wanda getting through her loss of vision, right? And the anxiety of it all really gets you, especially at that point where unintentionally she freaks out when everybody's swarming her, and she, like you said, she chokes them all and she freaks out herself. Like I think that was really great acting, and I genuinely love it. Like there was one point, I forget her name, but it kind of like zoomed in on her face whenever she was getting choked, and you could see like the paleness of her face and like the redness of her eyes and everything. It all just looked really, really good.
Yeah. No, I really like that scene. Just going back to even Agatha being like, she cut the strings, and fuck, I was getting like what's that movie, Inception vibes, like when like the subconscious just like realizes that they're there,
they know
and they
you're
all stare at
dreaming.
them.
Yeah.
Fuck, that shit always freaks me out. If ever I'm in like a crowded area and everyone just looks at me, I feel like I'll have a panic attack. Like that shit's just freaky to me. But and then yeah, she does like the mass force choke thing, and then I thought that was a pretty important like character moment though, for her to be like, holy shit, like what I'm doing is not right. Like I felt like there was multiple times in this episode where there was some morality situations that Wanda was put in, and I felt like she, for the most part, made the right choices, which again kind of separates her from being a villain type character, as like if we're comparing her to Thanos or something, right? You know, Thanos would be like, this is my goal, I don't give a fuck, like they're dying.
Yeah, I'm keeping these kids.
I'm keeping these kids, yeah.
Yeah.
But
and Vision.
Totally, like whether it was when Agatha was like lifting all the military guys and then she like went through the effort of catching them.
Yeah.
Didn't have to do that, but you know, like the military guys were there to basically pop off on Wanda, but she still did the right thing. And so I thought those moments were actually like they're subtle enough, but also very important. So I thought those were really well done. And like Clay said, they were just so visually beautiful. There was like all the action sequences in this were just so good. I actually forgot to mention this, so before we started, I was having issues starting it. I didn't have issues getting on the app, but for some reason it just wouldn't like buffer my episode. I was watching on the web browser. So I literally watched the finale on my fucking phone. What a terrible thing that is, eh? On my
Wow.
tiny little screen.
Why
Yeah.
didn't you screen mirror it to your TV?
I wasn't on my TV. I was at my computer, bro.
Oh,
It's
gotta figure that out.
in the past, you know, it is what it is.
Womp,
Luckily I have a big enough phone. It wasn't too big a deal, but I was sitting there and I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching the finale of WandaVision on my phone.
Why didn't you
here.
pause and then try your TV one more time or something like that? You know, your computer.
You guys would have been waiting for me much longer.
No, that's
and-
fine, but
Anyways, it was fine, but yeah.
But well, no, I think it's like, and that's one of the reasons why, like, it's controversial movie at times. But with Joker, that's what I like, because it's like you have Arthur, and there's a character where there's always like a road A and a road B, and to me that movie is always like he's always picking road B because it's easier or because of the pain he's in, right? Where Wanda has that thing, and it's like multiple times she picked road A. Yeah, maybe she slid into road B a little bit. She hit like the wake up tracks, but then she's like, oh, and I went back over to A. So that's the thing where it's like when we follow her. Yeah, I think she's going to be doing some more shit because Fracture Wolf asked, yo, bro, what the fuck even is the Darkhold? It is a book that pretty much, if you've seen the Mummy movies, it's like, I'd say the Book of the Dead. It's just going to have lots of evil shit, but here's your other thing. As eons ago, the evil elder god known as Shinton wrote it as evil works of spell on indestructible parchment, originally written on flesh, before being transcribed to stone and later a collection of parchments. So it's just like the Book of Sin. So literally, it's going to be like, I imagine how in Doctor Strange, Baron Mordor and a few other people were like, hey, Ancient One's using dark magic or whatever from the dark dimension, that's bad. I think whatever, and we're going to talk about the end credit scene, but whatever she taps into to achieve her next goal will be using spells and magic that you're not supposed to be using. The same way that they tried to burn Agatha, right? And they're like, you can't use this. So obviously, I feel like Agatha was using that for personal gain just to be stronger. Wanda's going to use it to maybe save some people, but still, using dark magic, never a good thing. You know, she maybe didn't learn her lesson, but you know, that's the problem where she's probably kind of a little insane in that sense of, Insanity's doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. She's maybe just saying, oh, it'll go better this time. And that's when Strange's going to have to step in, because Agatha did say one important thing. She looked at her power and said, you're even more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, which was a big like, whoa, okay. So she's on the power level of Strange. So I think we're going to get some really good pop-off fights in Multiverse Madness between those two before they inevitably team up. I think they're going to throw down.
Sorry, which two?
Strange and Wanda.
Oh, okay.
Especially like just knowing that Agatha knows about the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
Like, she could probably read it within the Darkhold or whatever, but just knowing like, hey, that may be a possible enemy in the future that she would have to deal with, but like now we are seeing it might be opposite of freaking Wanda, so that's crazy. But I also wanted to Wanda opened up the hex, let everybody out. And then we saw everybody, like, as far as like Vision and the kids start to deteriorate again.
Oh.
Yeah, that was rough because we had never seen that happen to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that we were questioning, whether they were technically real. Weren't they not affected by her magic in the first place? Like, what's going on? To see that was pretty cool. And I will say, though, I didn't like the line of like, kids, we never wanted you to be in this life, but you were born for this kind of thing. I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, you're not ready for it.
It felt
but you're
very
born for it.
Incredibles. That's where I was getting the vibes
Oh,
from. Like,
yeah.
especially when they're all standing there. It's like, let's do this, family.
Like,
Yeah,
Vision
totally.
is holding this pose, and I'm like, you don't have repulsors on your hands. What are you doing?
What about you, Taylor?
Not so
You've been
vicious.
silent on this Wanda business we talked a lot about there, but any thoughts?
Again, like her using the Darkhold and like studying it all Doctor Strange style and such, like I am very much excited for what is to come. Like, again, I was just looking at like comics for the Darkhold and stuff like that, and then one that I took extreme attraction to was this one with Ghost Rider just on the cover. I am all about that. Some Midnight Suns, just like let's do it. Let's get there. Come on, let's do it. So
We're getting closer, and I feel like if she doesn't become an X-Men, Scarlet could be like a prime candidate for the Midnight Suns or whatever they call it, because
yeah.
because like she's gonna be magical and mystical and all that. Because like I said, I don't think she's dying. I think she's still in a way where she's gonna come off. I think Doctor Strange is gonna be very much like a
Yeah.
Civil War BVS, where eventually they're at odds, but then they come together to fight the bigger evil. And I think that will be the case. And exciting, because I would be very disappointed. Like I thought that, because I was always like, if the kids are not real and Vision is gone, I was always like, well, not what's the point of Wanda, but it's like, what more can we do with her? And luckily, the show, even though Vision is alive, they wrote her so well. I was like, okay, we can still do a lot more with Wanda. But before, I was like, okay, she's gonna go because I feel like she'll make like a sacrifice play, that she did all this and she wants to save her, like she wants to right her wrongs, so she'll save the day, and then Doctor Strange will be sad for a bit and tell her story, tell her tale, and that'll be about it. So, but I think that now what they've given her in the show, she has tons of potential. And but yeah, seeing those kids start to disappear, that was rough, because you knew, oh man, they're gone once this hex is gone. Like that was the confirmation of like this, like the calm before the storm. Like, oh fuck, they're not making it out, are they?
Yeah, at least we got an off-screen goodbye for them. You know, I don't want to see like Tom Holland Spider-Man disappearing on two little kids. That would have
Oh
been,
yeah.
that'd been pretty rough. But oh, Clay, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's just I don't know if we want to push to that point though, but Vision, when they were kind of like saying their goodbyes but not really, like as he was walking out of the room, his voice cracked. If anybody noticed when he was saying "good night, kids" or
Mhm.
like "good night, boys" or something, his voice cracked, and that kind of just got me like, oh no, like it's coming. It's so
Yeah,
it was messed up, and you saw like with him being just the what did Wanda call him, the sadness, the hope and love or whatever, and not like actual Vision. Like he had a lot of emotion, which
Mhm.
was really cool
yeah.
when you look in retrospect of it.
In my head canon, at least where I was going with it, was just like that was what she got from him. So it was just like a mere reflection of what she'd received from him. So it was the love, the sadness, all these emotions that she had witnessed, with Vision, whether it was through their interactions. I'm sure there was boning going on. I don't know how that was going on, but I'm sure there's some connections
Boning,
there.
just like her brother Ralph Boner. Yeah.
But yeah, that I guess we're in that scene now. So
Oh yeah.
that was the moment that really fucked me up. Not necessarily like the kids. It was just the connection of on screen between Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. Man, they had such.
Kirkland, the cold motherfucker. Not those kids. I don't care about
It was
them.
off screen death. Like, come on. Yeah,
It's still sad. They're putting their kids out to pasture. Like, man, that's
Yeah.
brutal.
No, totally, it's life sometimes. But no, just like that moment that they shared on screen together between Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. Holy crap, man! I didn't think I was gonna cry watching this, but god damn, that got me. And it was like prolonged. It's so funny too, because I felt like when they looked out the window, that hex was moving so fast, and then when they went into dialogue, I'm like, I feel like that should have hit by now.
It's
I'm glad it
very
hasn't, because that would have been very rough if they're just like having this moment, all of a sudden he just disappears or something. But
He just turns around, Vision, one more thing, and then
no, that scene though, oh, that hit me in the heartstrings, and it was unexpected. Honestly, I didn't think it was gonna get me as well as it did, but I totally would put it on the actor and actress there.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
they just killed that scene.
well, that's where one of those things of like, I liked the action in this episode, and then yeah, like we had the boner reveal, which was a disappointment. But it's like last week where I said, and this stays true with this moment, the reason why I still like really like or love this finale is because of that moment right there, because these character moments outweigh all that other stuff for me, outweigh the big action, outweigh the twists and the reveals, because those are all great, but those to me are all in the moment. A twist is the same thing of like Evan Peters walking through the door, oh, that's a twist, and obviously it didn't go that route, but it's still, that's just in the moment. It's like, oh, okay, what's next? Where this is just like you're living in that moment, and you're gonna remember that for a while now. Like to remember for me, one of the scenes that I'll remember the most of the series is that one with those two, and that's great because it's them talking, which shows that they've done a great job writing these characters, building these characters, even though it is a new vision. But it was just fantastic, and it was great to see Wanda like just be solemn, like knowing she has to do this. It was almost like when you have to put an animal down, like that's what she's doing with the kids in Vision of like she can't have them around. It's gonna hurt other people, but she has to do this, and it's like when they all disappeared, it did seem like she was a bit more comfort with it, but still felt like there was a massive hole. You know, not like the last time where she didn't know what to do. Obviously, now she's on a vision. Apparently, she's on a quest. Apparently, she's staying where fucking Edward Norton was staying at the end of the Hulk in that cabin. If anyone remembers that post-credit scene, because it looked identical. But that
I
scene,
totally thought the same thing.
yeah, that scene. Yeah, she's just pulling out actors from other movies like Edward Norton, Terrence Howard, and he's like, "This time, baby." But like he or she and Vision, just like that scene alone made the finale great. Of course, I'd want all this other stuff that happened, but that scene they needed to nail, and they did that in tenfold. So it was a great, and yeah, that was just like a, you know, throats welling up like, oh god, because they're saying goodnight to these kids, and it's like the last time. It's just like, oh, that's some terrible
Well,
stuff.
you knew it was coming because there was that moment when they were in the town square or whatever, where Vision said, "Oh, you'll make everything right, just not for us." And I was like, "Oh, that's heartbreaking."
And there was still that hope of like, well, maybe he just means for just him. Like maybe it's just like us meeting Vision and Wanda. But then when they were putting those kids to bed and you saw Vision and Wanda's face, like I said, they're literally like knowing their kids in their sense are going to be killed. And it's like, yeah, she's only had them for a week, but still like in her mind, she had these kids with Vision. She gave birth to them, all this stuff. And it's just like, they're literally putting their kids in this position.
Do you think the kids knew they were gonna die? Or you think they just thought, oh,
No.
I can't wait to go to sleep?
Oh no.
You think
No,
really?
no.
No.
Sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think that they were just like so totally oblivious to the entire experience.
Oh my god. Well, that's good. That's at least good for them. I mean, yeah.
Because why would you put them through that? Why would you be like, here, lay in this bed, you're going to die?
I thought they knowingly were
And they're like
expecting
smiling.
to
They're
die.
like, all right, that's fun.
I thought
That's
they
fun.
knew what was gonna happen, so I thought they were like, wow, okay.
No,
No, I don't.
and that's the most heartbreaking thing because Wanda was talking to them like, "Hey, we're family. We're never gonna leave you. You're never gonna leave us." And they're so like comfortable in that realm of like, "Hey, we're a
Yeah.
family. Oh, we're dead." You know.
Yeah, but even then, that's why there's two great lines because she said like we're a family, and that means we're never apart. So it just means like yeah, it's almost kind of similar to the grief line that Vision gave last week, as far as like you may be apart or sad, but you're always gonna be with each other. And Vision also had a good line this time again. The writers just love giving him lines. Says we have to say goodbye before, so it stands. We'll have a reason to say hello again, and that's a great thing. It is Marvel, and it is a crazy world, and it's just like you think about this. This is now the third time she's had to say goodbye to this fucking robot. But there is a part where she's like, you know what? Maybe there's that like empty hope, and I'm not sure if Vision filled her in like, hey, there's a Snow Vision out there somewhere. But it is.
I was waiting for that line or something, like at least some mentions, just so you know, there's another me out there.
But that means
Well, and
there's a
it's-
chance of a fourth goodbye when you think about it. I mean,
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But it's like,
Six.
there is. Fourth time's a charm. But that was one thing when Agatha was like, oh, look, it's your old boyfriend with your new boyfriend. When you broke it down and everything like that, it's not as bad as like Wonder Woman with like everyone broken that down and arguing like with the dude and everything. But it is just like, think about her position. She created a new boyfriend based on her old boyfriend, but then here's her old boyfriend's body, but it's not have his conscience. And it's just like, what a weird scenario to be in. Like, obviously, this could only happen in comic books, but like, it was just weird when Agatha broke it down like that. And it was just like, yeah, like, what would she have done if this Vision had her full memory? Like, what would she have done to New Vision? Was she just thrown him to the side? Like, but luckily he tried to pop her head like a grape. But it's still like it's just a weird like. And Taylor, don't smile. Don't say what she was gonna maybe.
no,
do.
I'm not gonna say that.
The WandaVision porn parody's not coming out to 2022,
No, I'm
but that would
just-
be a good one. If there's a porn parody director out there, that's a great scene right there. You have to do it. Two dudes as Vision.
You can
Come
go
on.
ahead. I'm just laughing because you're looking into like the fine relationship details of this like soap
Well,
opera.
Well, but it's the same way we've talked about before of like and Taylor gave the worst answer ever when we were talking about the snap, and like, let's say your fiance got snapped, you got a new girlfriend, then came back, and Taylor's like, "Well, I think we could talk it out."
Oh, I
and
was
it's like,
joking.
Oh, I
was
remember that
joking.
line.
yeah, sure, I'm gonna
That's
bring that
on-
up at the wedding,
that's on
but like,
tape, yeah.
that's the same thing as the snap. It's like, okay, you have a new partner. What happens if that partner comes back and they have that memory of 5 minutes later, and you still love them? Like, what would you do? So it's the same thing as this. Like I said, he turned into Evil Vision for a little bit, but I had him home of like, this is fucking weird. Like, what's gonna go down here? Like, how does she explain this? You know, but yeah, good stuff.
But also, when the Hex finally left, Wanda was literally standing in the exact spot
Mm-hmm.
from when she created the Hex for a millisecond. For a millisecond, all I thought was, man, how much would it suck if this was all a dream?
Yeah, the way they framed it, I was thinking that same thing of like, oh, don't go down this route, don't do it, especially just because like, I don't know, and we'll have to see how it lines up. But the fact that this happened 3 or a month after Endgame, and there's nothing mentioned about as far from home so far, it's like that's a little odd, you know. Like, and people have said like, look at Fury's board and the sword. There has a Hex. Yeah, maybe that's it, but it is just odd. Like, this is like a month after the blip, and then this whole city gets or this whole town gets taken over. You'd be like, this is a little weird. Obviously, it's only a few days, so maybe they can write off. But I didn't think they were gonna pull it, but the way they framed it looked exactly how a dream sequence would go. She's same spot, same clothes, everything like that. I was like, oh, if they were to do this, they will never hear the end of this from people. People would tear them to shreds if that was a dream. But I thought it was a nice touch of that's where she started, that's where she ended, and she does the classic MCU disguise of throwing the hood up, and the whole town's just mad dogging her though. They're fucking pissed. They're like, get out of our town.
Yeah, that disguise did nothing for her. That hoodie did nothing for her.
no, they all saw right through that. It's like, I know who you are, Wanda. Like, oh man.
She's gonna have to sell that plot of land now that Vision bought because she's not gonna be able to do anything with it.
That's her main concern for sure. It's like, what am I gonna do with this land? That's before she went to her little hut. Well, that's what she did. She sold it off and bought that little hut. She bought off Edward Norton's Hulk. But like, yeah, I don't, and like, so I guess we're gonna take our last ad break, and then we're gonna talk about somebody else here that we got some answers on. And we're back. So I like what happened with Hayward, because I've been saying for weeks I wanted him just to be kind of an asshole who was doing tricks and whatnot, which I feel is like I like that he was that, but I feel like it was a little convoluted and just explained away very easily as far as and I hated the Darcy, you're going to jail line. I hated that. It's in character, it's fine, but again, there's just sometimes I think they just need to pull the gas off.
Scowl that came afterward and everything.
Oh yeah, and like, I'm sorry, I try not to do this, but this guy who played Hayward was not good either. The whole show, I was almost hoping he was Ultron, because then I'd be like, oh, this is why this actor is so robotic. But it's just like, they didn't, like I said before, they spent all their budget, and then they're like, oh, we still got to cast Hayward. And they got whoever he was, and maybe this guy's better in other things, but he just didn't work. So I like that he wasn't the big, like, an evil Skrull on Ultron. But I think they just got actually, like, super lazy with it. Like, why did he do all this? What was his motivation? Like, even if they would have said, like, yeah, he just hates fucking superheroes, okay, fine. It's generic and simple, but at least it's something. We never know why he was like, okay, I guess he just wanted to create Vision, but why? So he could have a weapon? Like, there's so much on him we still don't know. And not that I care that much, because I'm not that interested about Hayward, but I think the same way as Evan Peters, if we never see him again, they could have gave him one more scene just to write that off as he's a normal guy. If we never see Hayward again, which I doubt we ever will, I think they could have used just like a little more explanation. But yeah, so like I'm very 50-50 on the Hayward kind of result that we got. So
Yeah, that was definitely like one of the flattest moments of the whole episode for me, and like kind of similar feeling with the Evan Peters stuff. I felt like it just got super outweighed by the really positive stuff for me personally. Again, it might be something that on a rewatch I'm like, oh yeah, I really don't like that. You know, it like,
because he's in the show a lot.
He is, yeah, and like fortunately for me, I just had a lot of fun with the big moments. That it was just. Yeah, it got outweighed by that stuff.
And I want to say this because I've tried to bring this up twice. I keep forgetting it. I hate the stuff they did with like outside the Hex, because like they had this moment where I think it was Hayward's or someone's phone Jimmy Woo's arrested. There's this phone ringing. No one fucking sees him just like scour over and use his hand and pick, like
He's a magician. He's
Fuck
sleight of
off.
hand. He can
Like-
do it.
this is the problem now. Like this is the only one major negative I think this show has done is with Captain Marvel and then with Endgame, they set up Sword as this new entity. Okay, they're going into space, they're doing all this stuff. I feel like this show made all these new Sword people just look super dumb and generic and just like S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
And I think they really missed the ball on that. I wish they would have just made, and even then, like, I hated how when Woo's like, you're going to get away with this. And then the other people were like, yeah, well, we could. It's like, why are you guys also kind of shitty? Like, I wish Hayward was just maybe had one dude on the side and was doing this stuff with Vision and keeping hush hush. But it's like, everybody knew except for Monica and Jimmy and Darcy. So it's like, was it that big a secret? You didn't have to break into his firewall if you literally just had to open up a fucking chest and dead Vision was right beside you. Like, I feel like, again, they just made Sword, and hopefully in the movies they do a better job, but they just made Sword like, okay, you're just S.H.I.E.L.D. You're just S.H.I.E.L.D., but you've rebranded. And hey, maybe that's fine, but I'm not going to invest in that. Like, in Agents of Sword show, like me and Chris have talked about, it's like, okay, now I need you to do some kind of work because I feel like WandaVision made it very. We talked about this a few weeks ago. I didn't like them kicking them out, just like, you're out of here. And then they kicked them out, but then they snuck right back in. It's just stuff where it's like, you don't even have to do it. You didn't even have to have them steal the phone. Just be like, hey, the FBI hasn't heard from Jimmy Woo in days. Maybe something's going on. Like, no, he has to fucking sneak and he has his handcuffs and just like, oh, yeah, I didn't like any of that crap.
Yeah, no, I felt that we weren't going to get anything from Hayward when in last episode, we found out that everything was a lie from one, like the whole thing with Wanda stealing the body and everything. It was convoluted. And the reasoning that he gave Jimmy that's like, oh, I can finally kill the one hero that was trying to steal Vision. She wasn't trying to steal him,
No.
and you have his body.
And you were already doing stuff with it before Wanda even popped up. So that's like a bullshit excuse. Like, I feel like no Wanda or not with creating the Hex, he'd still be trying to make an evil Vision. Because he even was like last week, he was like, we've tried so many things, but finally we found a way to power it up. So it's like, clearly this was your design the whole time. And like I said, like, just give him some Scooby-Doo lines of why he's doing this. But they wouldn't even give him that. He just got walked off in cuffs. It's like, all right, I guess Hayward's done. Cool.
Would have
Yeah.
gotten away with it too.
Yeah, if it wasn't for those damn Maximoffs. Those damn boners. Taylor, you got any final thoughts on the one of the best MCU characters, Tyler Hayward?
His exit, I'm assuming from the MCU, just kind of reminded me of, why can't I remember his name?
Sam Rockwell?
Yeah,
Justin Hammer, when
yeah,
he got arrested
yes,
and just
Justin
walked right
Hammer.
off. Yeah, they love doing
Exactly.
that to these generic white dudes.
Yeah. So again, I didn't mind Hayward overall, like super much. Like I thought he's just this general villain. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say on him. Did you already go, Kirklin, about on him or?
I really don't have much to say on him.
Okay.
Very forgettable character, yeah.
I was just gonna segue to what did you guys think about Monica Rambeau absorbing bullets and all that fun stuff?
Well, first of all, one more thing on Hayward. He was gonna fucking just execute these kids on the spot.
Oh, yeah.
Like this.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is what I mean. Like they did not. He turned into Colonel Hans Landa all of a sudden, where he was just like, he went from I gotta take out Wanda to I'm gonna fucking headshot these kids in the middle of the street with all these people watching. What? Why was that? How? And then like, it's not like he went to shoot somebody and like, oh, I almost hit them. Monica blocked it, and then he just unloaded his full clips on the kids trying to hit them. It just, again, even just saying I hate fucking superheroes, then it's like, okay, that makes sense why he wants to kill these kids.
I
It's
hate
the same.
fucking kids.
Yeah, I hate kids too. Yeah, I hate everybody. But it's like Bolivar Trask from X-Men. It's like his dad was Sabretooth and he was immune. He wasn't immune, so he just hates mutants. He wants to extinct them. It's simple. It's stupid. Go with it. But like, how did he jump from like shady guy doing stuff with Vision's body to I'm gonna kill kids? But I liked Monica saving the kids. That was cool. Like that was her. I'm surprised that was her only real hero moment in that. But I was just more concerned with what the fuck was going on with Hayward in that moment. I was I'm glad you brought that up because I was in shock when he shot at those kids.
And like he kept shooting after the clip was empty. He's like, they're not.
He didn't
dying.
regret it.
No, he had like a rush going or whatever because he like got out of his vehicle, just had a car accident. You know, you just get really like high adrenaline.
Fine, I'll do it myself. Like fuck. I was just hoping like I honestly wanted one of those kids because those kids were gonna die anyways, right? I wanted one of those kids to get shouldered, and then I wanted Wanda or Vision to fucking rip Hayward apart, like just like destroy him. But that didn't happen.
Okay, if one of those kids got shot with Hayward's gun, like, okay, let's say hypothetically one of those kids got shot in the shoulder.
Just in the shoulder.
Judging by their size, that kid would have got fucking launched. Like, like goddamn.
He can fly now? No, it's just Hayward shot him. Oh man, yeah. But yeah, Monica, great hero moment, you know? See what Proton,
Yeah,
Lady of the Light, whatever she does do.
The visuals were beautiful.
It's like
I had
Jell-O.
no idea she could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Me neither.
I don't think she did either. I think it's one of those like, all right, like I guess the idea is that it shows she's a good person because she would have taken a bullet for the kids, right? So that's where it's like these powers, we don't know why or how she's doing them. I think it kind of has that aspect of sometimes heroes just they unlock. It's like a fucking skill tree. They don't have their powers, and then they get 1 XP and they upgrade all their fucking stats. And it's like I couldn't do any of this, but now I can do everything.
The world
it's like,
pauses. It's like hit circle to activate the.
That's what she was looking at when the bullet went by. She was doing a quick time event, you know, like that's how she sees it. But yeah.
But also,
Uh-huh.
speaking of villains, though, with Hayward, we didn't talk about the whole ending with Agatha,
Mm-hmm.
about how she is now the Snoopy neighbor.
Literally the
How does
nosy
that-
neighbor. now.
How does that work too with the hex just being gone? I figured like the spell would end with the hex, or is she just trapped in this?
I think she's
trapped
just
in the
trapped.
body.
And so she's not in the hex. She's just.
No, she's
a nosy
She's in
neighbor.
Westview
Mind
walking
wiped.
around as the nosy neighbor.
So all the Westview guys were like, "What the fuck happened to us?" And this chick is just, "Hey guys, how's it
Oh
going?"
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be weird, eh? I was
I-
curious how that worked.
I personally loved it because we've been talking about this. We just reviewed. It'll be coming on the main feed, House of M, and then me and Chris did the Vision, and then there's other stuff. Agatha has always been around multiple times with Wanda, so the fact that they didn't kill her off, I loved it because they even did a whole like Agatha being like, "You will need me," and she's like, "Yeah, and if I do, I know exactly where you are." And that was like I gave the chef kiss because it's like. I love that when it's like, let's say they never use Agatha ever again. That's fine, but you've left that door open. Instead of them just like, Hayward, they should have fucking just cut his head off in the middle of the street. We don't need to see him again. But like Agatha,
They're
no,
gonna
don't.
need him, Travis. They're gonna need Hayward.
Yeah,
Come
to
on,
kill
they know
more
where to find him.
kids. Fuck. Hopefully Frank Castle gets in the MCU just to fuck this guy up. But like no, like that's what I love. Like they could have easily went down the route of you did this and she kills Agatha, and I'm like, okay, another villain gone. But the fact that she's around, I'm pretty confident we will see her again. And it does
Yeah.
make me confident that like I guess I don't know if there would be a WandaVision season 2, but like a spinoff of the show or a movie. It does make me confident that we'll get more Wanda/Vision centric stories, and I think this show being a mega hit has helped a lot with that too. So it could just be more adventures with them, and Agatha could be back, and I love it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I thought that was such a good way to do it, especially, I mean, she said so herself. Apparently, we're gonna need her to defeat something. So, I thought that was so well done. As opposed, and again, like she's just gonna be this nosy neighbor until that point. That's kind of funny too. But yeah, really good, and I'm excited to see her again because she definitely grew on me. As you all know, last episode I really wasn't feeling her, but really turned it around in this episode.
And she got to be the entire internet when she got turned into the nosy neighbor. The first thing she said is, "Did I leave the oven on, or is that just you, hot stuff?" And she said that about Elizabeth Olsen. So it's like, yeah, it's just literally speaking the internet's mind. The other thing I want to mention with Agatha too is when Scarlet Witch threw the car at her and she went to go check on her. Her boots were on the ground, very much like a Wizard of Oz sort of like tribute. That was really fun. And then I popped big time for two things, which I can't believe we haven't talked about yet, but when they did the Age of Ultron callback, when she went up to her brain and did the fucking mind spell like she did to all of them in Age of
yeah.
Ultron and
Yeah.
put them in like the dream world. That was awesome because we haven't seen that in so long. I loved the actual dream of the Salem witch like burning because that was creepy. They turn
Very
on her,
creepy.
like just so well.
I
all that horror stuff.
immediately thought of Kirklin, and I was like, oh, he's gonna hate this again.
It was okay for me, especially since we just did our first comic book versions episode, but like in that Scarlet Witch did to Steve Rogers about like getting like the nightmare-esque. He like brought in like the Red Skull / like Nazis, whereas in this one basically did the same thing for her, brought like a nightmare vision, although it kind of got flipped 180 on her in this situation. But no, I love that for that reason. And also, like I was mentioning earlier, like I feel like the last episode stuff has worked more on me, specifically because like she was doing a lot of the absorption in this episode, and I felt like if we didn't get that Salem witch trial scene where she really emphasized on like how her powers work and that she can absorb all these things, maybe it would have been a little bit, I don't know, not necessarily confusing, but been like, oh, she can just do this, whereas obviously that big scene that I had issues with, it makes sense now. So I said last week that my mind will probably change, depending on how the season ends. So obviously that's happened now.
And it was a good power for the final fight because, like, for a while, Scarlet Witch had to figure out how do I beat her without throwing powers at her, and that's where I like she's throwing the car, she's throwing different objects, so like the magic doesn't physically touch Agatha, it's something else hitting or touching Agatha. So I liked that for a little while. At the end, I was like, "What the fuck is she doing?" Like she's like, I knew there was some sort of plan to, but when she was just like throwing bolts at her, but like. That
fucking drain too. Yeah.
She was not looking the internet meme ready. But then we finally got, because we debated, were we gonna get it now or were we gonna get it in Doctor Strange? And man, she's popping off the red orbs, and we got the suit. And I just can't believe we live in a world where Scarlet Witch is rocking the fucking headdress and it looks good. Because I remember a few people saying after they saw the Halloween episode of like, this is why you can't have her look the way she looks in the comic books because it just looks too silly. But you know what? I think they did it. The suit just looks perfect. It looks like we've talked about before, almost like Magneto from Days of Future Past, like the color and the scheme. But like the headdress is perfect because it's like a design, but it's not too overly big. It just kind of like sits there nice on her head, and I just love that she's like graduated superhero school now. Like all these other people have been rocking fucking American flags and capes, and she's been here in a trench coat and a corset, but here she is looking like a fucking sexy ass Scarlet Witch devil, and she just popping off. She has a cape, like the hair, everything. Like it looks
I had
so
to turn
good.
on my fan when she got into that suit.
I was like Charlie Sheen in that gif, when he's steaming.
Yeah, and like that suit could have looked stupid. It could look stupid, and they pulled it off.
I'm not gonna lie, I was worried that the headdress was gonna just be like that mystical version,
Green Lantern version. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, I hope this changes, so when it actually like got to a solid object, I was really happy. And yeah, like you said, I think it's sleek enough that it's not too obnoxious. They did a really good job at modernizing it, and it looked so good. Like she looked awesome. She looked hot. She looked intimidating. All these things that you want. So I thought it was really well done.
And it's just so funny seeing her walk around the suit now. Like when her and Vision were like walking down the street, she's like, "Yeah, she just has the suit now. This is awesome." But Taylor, were you hyped to see the suit and all the Scarlet Witch stuff we just talked about, Agatha?
Before Taylor goes, also I want to say when they first like had her like move over and then like you could see the rune in the back. Oh my god, my mind like blew. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know if you guys were, but oh my god, I was so hyped in that moment.
I didn't know they were rune. I knew there was a plan because I'm like, she's not just gonna kill herself here. We know she's coming, but like, what was plan? And then when they started to take shape, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what am I like? What is this logo? What am I missing here? And then once they started to rise, that's when I was like, oh shit, they're runes. And
yeah, I was
very smart callback because now like she just controlled the fucking hex. So very fun. It's like the Vision thing. It's like he didn't fight his way out. He found a way to beat him by talking to Vision. Same with her. Like, yeah, it was a fight, but it's still like her learning something earlier in the season and using it against the villain. Perfect. Like Agatha got cocky and it got the best of her.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you guys on that. I think the whole ruin usage on the hex was fantastic. As far as Wanda goes, rocking her new outfit, I just absolutely love it. When wearing her like Scarlet Witch like crown or tiara. I don't know what the proper term is for it.
Call it a
Her
crown. Don't call it
her
a fucking
crown
tiara now. Come
tiara.
on now.
Um,
Headdress too.
headdress. Yeah, her headdress when it was forming. I'm not opposed to the CGI look. I really liked it because I was digging how it was like just the red aura. Just it felt magical. It felt like totally fitting into that vibe of like mystic arts and everything like that. That being said, again, when it's solidified, I'm happy with that too, just as much because it looks so good. Her whole getup is just so like I'm fanboying over it because it's so awesome. I love when she just puts the hood up and she just floated away out of the city and oh
And like it's a cool combo of like it looks superhero-y, but it does look like witchy too. Like it doesn't look the full way it looks like in comic books, where to me that is just very like just comic book. This is like you with the cloak. Whenever she has the cloak on or like the hood, that looks like a witch and whatnot. And I very very well done. I think they did a great job, and I can't wait to see that now on the big screen and whatnot. Fracture Wolf said, "So Wiccan stops bullets." I guess so. They never really clarified either of the twins' powers. One was fast, and one had mind controls power sort of stuff. So it's like, yeah, I guess so. And then all in the game said, "Could a Scarlet Witch movie work in Phase 4, or should she be big team ups going forward?" Well, so here's the thing. I think in Phase 4, obviously she's in Strange. I think there's a good shot she'll be in Spider-Man in somewhat. She's kind of even like did a nod to like, oh, you may or may not see me there. I think she's probably an end credit scene there, or even the beginning of the movie to like maybe she's we'll talk about the end credit scenes, but messing with stuff, and that's how Toby and Andrew come in. But like after the show, to me, and I'm saying this without seeing Falcon and Loki, but I just feel like the show is gonna have that je ne sais quoi that the other shows don't, and that to me is like was that mystery factor. So I feel like these shows will be talked a lot more about than Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki. We'll see, but I think the mystery factor really helped. I think Elizabeth Olsen is, like I said, not even talking attractive wise, just Magatu and Zoolander are just like so hot right now. Like she's the talk of the town, everything like that. So I think it'll be a missed opportunity if they don't do another movie down the road, or like I said, I could see a hybrid season 2 of the show where it's not them doing the comedy shtick, but it's like Wanda and Vision, or maybe she's part of the Young Avengers, like as a leader. I don't know, but I don't. I think she's getting too good of a character that you don't you don't have to just save her for team ups. I think those are characters that you haven't fleshed out that much. I think she's getting to that tier where people would see her do separate stuff. They already did with this show, but I think now if you did announce a Wanda or Vision movie, more like them together, I think people would dig it and be into it as long as the plot's there and everything like that. What do you guys think? Do you think she stays as like a crossover type of character? Do you think she can kind of break out on her own as of like getting a movie or getting like another type of season or show?
It's interesting because I feel like, I mean, just from how this ends, I could almost see her being like a crossover villain, like a big bad. Um, I don't know if we would get like a just a show, Scarlet Witch, because would it be like who would she? I don't know. I can't see too far down the road. I'm pretty I'm undetermined on that one for sure.
The only other thing I do think is I still think, yeah, we've talked about this before, that she's a witch versus a mutant, whatever. I still think maybe she doesn't get a solo film, but maybe she's just a key player of whenever we do get X-Men or the mutants. Maybe she is a key player there. She's like one of the Cap or Tonys on that team to help bring everyone together. And you can kind of use her as like, if there is no Magneto connection, she's just one of the team leaders, and she's decided, hey, I'm going to find other people like myself. Like maybe she learns out of Multiverse of Madness. Like there's not witches, but there's other persons she's looking into as far as people that have powers just from birth. I don't know. I'm not saying they got to make her Xavier, but maybe that's what they do. I just don't think she'll go away, at least.
Yeah, I don't think, as of right now, I think, because people are already complaining about the season finale, but people are also bringing up really good points. Like the WandaVision, Multiverse of Madness, and Spider-Man are going to play almost like a trilogy in the sense that they're all connected with really weird magic multiverse stuff. I think that is the connecting arch. It'll be those three movies. And so I think for now she will be a crossover character. But her fate, I think, really lies either at the end of Multiverse of Madness or at the end of Spider-Man, really.
Taylor, what about you? What do you think the future is for Scarlet Witch here? And then we'll talk about the 2 end credit scenes to end off.
Yeah, as far as Scarlet Witch's future goes, I mean, I don't really see her getting her own like a second season of a show or a standalone film. I feel like she conquered in her own first, Marvel Disney Plus series, and she dominated in that. And they tackled a lot. They tackled, her present, they tackled her past, and they tackled her future briefly in this. So I feel like that's all said and done, and just she'll be in like collaboration projects now. Again, Spider-Man 3, Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we will see what happens. So we got 2. Does anyone have anything to say about the episode before we get to the 2 end credit scenes? Anything they want to touch on? I want to say one thing I forgot to say during the Vision versus Vision battle, when Vision was trying to talk to Snow Vision, and then Snow Vision was like, "I request elaboration."
Mhm.
It was a fun pause that they were just completely fighting, and then just that pause to be like, "Okay,
Yeah.
what's going on in here?"
And his oh man, I love the Snow Vision's just facial features in that one because he just looks so menacing, but also just really intrigued.
Mhm.
So, like, he was still like, I'm very suspicious, but my programming requires me to ask further questions. I thought that was just a fun interaction between those 2.
Okay, end credits. So we got the one with Monica. She linked up back with Jimmy. That's great. They're all happy. Jimmy's doing a good job. And then there's I don't know, some agent, FBI agent, SHIELD agent, Soldier agent. Who knows what she's doing right now? But she gets brought into the theater and says, "Oh, someone wants to talk to you. Send mother of your friends," and it turns into a scroll. She points to the sky, clearly referring to probably Nick Fury, who I guess is up in space already at this point, which seems strange. After 3 weeks, I feel like he'd still be down on Earth, but we'll get talked about it. But yeah, I feel like this is a natural setup. We know she's going to be in Captain Marvel. We've heard rumblings of her also being in the Secret Invasion show. So sure, I like her. I'm excited to see more. I don't think it was a juicy end credit scene. I think it would have been better if this Skrull character was someone we knew. That was like, oh, this person was a Skrull too. But it was just like, okay, a random person wants you to join Nick Fury. Cool, I liked it.
Yeah, it was nice to see Skrulls on screen again, especially how they had history with Monica's mom and stuff like that. So it was a good tie-in.
I feel like Secret Invasion, the same way this show every time was like, we recommend you watch Age of Ultron. That's going to be Captain Marvel every week. It'll be like, we recommend you watch Captain Marvel. So it'll get some plays. And then finally, like we said, we talked about it before, Elizabeth Olsen's hanging out in Edward Norton's shack there. We're going around, and then I was wondering what was happening because she's just drinking tea, she's doing dishes, but then we turn that corner, there's some creepy music, there's some creepy sound effects, and she's looking like Doctor Strange in Infinity War when he's almost out of his body, like seeing different time things, but she has the dark hold, she's flipping through things, she's full Scarlet Witches out, there's whole like symbols going around, and then you hear a few voices screaming "Mommy," and that shows that somehow these twins are possibly maybe alive out there. And I'm guessing because the whole time when this ended, I was like, oh, they really didn't set up like Agatha was like, you don't know what you did, but I was like, how is Multiverse of Madness even gonna happen? How is Toby and Andrew even get here? They didn't really set that up. I thought there'd be some big event. Not that we got a big event, but I think that this sets up that she's gonna go and get these kids back, but whatever she has to do reality bending wise is gonna bend a lot of other realities and mess things up. So I like that. I was always thought that the kids probably wouldn't make it past this show, so I'm a little surprised they are, but hey, I'll take them. I'm excited to see the journey. I'm excited to see how they explain it, because like if she can bring them back, why can't she bring Vision back as well? If she just created the kids, I'm sure there might be some sort of reason, but I don't know. I liked it because it gave us that. I like that we got 2 end credit scenes and it gave us that last minute, like, oh shit, what's going on? And then, like I said, I said this show would end with her clearly being on a path, and we know that now. Her path is to try and find these kids. And the thing is, maybe these kids aren't even real. Maybe it's someone fucking with her. Like the same thing we talked about, someone was fucking with her in this. Maybe that is Mephisto.
That's Mephisto.
Yeah, that's Mephisto. Like that's it. But that's the thing. Like we don't know what they are, but it's enough that we know. Okay, we know where her point C is now. So I loved it. That was a good stinger. And she was looking creepy.
Oh, she was looking very creepy. She's looking very villainous.
Yeah.
I'm very curious is like if she's able to use the Darkhold to like obtain these goals on her own, or if she has to contact, a more demonic figure, whether it's Mephisto, whether it's
Nightmare was the other one thrown out.
Nightmare, Dormammu.
Dormammu.
What was the name
Dormammu.
you said? Like the guy that made the Darkhold though.
Shante or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, we
'cause-
haven't met him yet. Baron. Well, that wouldn't be Baron
Well,
Mordo, but I feel like Baron
well, I
Mordo
was-
wants to get rid of Scarlet Witch. You know.
Because when I was looking into it, it sounds like he's very much tied to just the origin of Scarlet Witch and like her powers. I don't know. It said like she was touched by the hand of the Elder God, Chiton, whatever his name is. I'm curious if they lean that route, if they don't want to just be like, oh, she's a mutant, like she actually got her powers from a godlike figure. So I'm very intrigued. I've like zero confidence in any of my predictions there, but I can't wait to find out more because I have just grown to love this character and just so intriguing. So yeah.
That's why I still feel like I still like there's a chance we'll see more solo stuff. I just feel like I've heard a lot of people say good things about her and this character, and I think they like to go where popularity is. It's the same where it's like, look at Black Panther. I feel like everybody after is like, we want a Dora Milaje show. We want a show about like Wakanda and that, and now they're doing that. I feel like Olsen could get that as far as, just the popularity goes. But
proving herself
Taylor,
for sure.
well, yeah, Taylor, how did you take the end credit scene?
Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing her doing her like studying of the Darkhold, just like Doctor Strange does his studying. So I really jived well with that. Yeah, her hearing the kids talking, shutting out for help. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think that's definitely segueing into how she's gonna get a little messy with the multiverse, trying to find them. Yeah, just it was a really awesome scene. It was funny because like I there was still like a lot of time left in the credits, and I like flashed my mouse through just to briefly see, but I'm like hoping my mouse doesn't land on like that one like screenshot of like an end credit scene that's like
Just
super
Ghost
super,
Rider.
Like,
You just see like a skull,
just
a flaming
flames,
skull.
yeah. Comes out of the book.
That's her rebound, guys. The fucking Ghost
Yeah.
Out of the
Rider.
book. Just rides out of the book.
I'm in. Yeah.
But yeah.
She's riding his bike.
Oh yes, please. Yeah, I just
Yeah, that would sell a lot of Disney
It
Plus
would sell a
subscription right
lot.
there.
That
Just a poster for Ghost Rider and Elizabeth Olsen's on the back of it in her Scarlet Witch costume. Right there. They're gonna beat any streaming service in the world.
yes, please. No, that whole credit scene, I think it is very fitting though. I love, again, like we're poking jokes at it, how these Marvel heroes, they just go out into hiding out in the forest somewhere. I guess the BC seems like the go-to. At least that's where Edward Norton
Yeah.
went. So, but I think that the scene was awesome. Yeah, she's doing some crazy stuff. She didn't look like she was having a positive learning session like Doctor Strange does. It definitely looked like she was doing some dark stuff. So
Well, and it's the same way as Incredible Hulk when like they had Edward Norton like doing meditation and then he like looked up the camera evil and like smiled. And the scene was almost like the exact same, like beat for beat of like it's a cabin, he's looking a little crazy, and then there's something going on. Obviously no kids involved, but Clay, what did you think about this end credit scene?
I loved it. I said in the very beginning of the podcast that this whole series aimed to do something, and I was waiting for this end credit scene that we were going to talk about. It aimed to do two things. The series aimed to bring out the Scarlet Witch, and it aimed to be a bridge to Multiverse of Madness, and it did its job. So I think that's why this series is a positive for sure. The astral projection call back to Doctor Strange, it just shows how powerful Wanda is getting just in the small amount of time that has progressed since her time in Westview, and now however long it's been since she's been in this cabin, which I absolutely love. Her using the Darkhold, we all know that can't be good.
No.
But I majority think when Agatha was saying, "Oh, you don't know what you did," I think Agatha is more scared of the Scarlet Witch than she is the Darkhold. And then combining them both is not going to be any kind of great outcome. So with all of that, her eyes glowing red, it just all looked aesthetically very pleasing. And then hearing the kids yell, we all know that, she was literally bending reality in Westview, which is technically just another dimension and pieces of the multiverse, really. So she's done this before. And so just being able to read up on this kind of information and now having I guess, a better picture on how she can do it is going to make her even more powerful and make her more successful, which means that there's probably going to be a lot of shit going on in Multiverse of Madness, and I dug
Oh
it.
yeah, that movie's gonna be popping off. Well, Kirklin, I'll let you go first. If anyone wants to rate it, you can at 10. If you don't have to. But Kirklin, or did you want a second?
I was gonna say actually, because I noticed in the last couple episodes, Paul Bettany had like the #1 credit for some reason, and this one they actually had Elizabeth Olsen #1. So
They
shouts out
switched
to her.
back and forth. I don't know why
Oh,
they
okay.
did that.
They
Yeah, because
alternate.
the first episode that caught me too, and I was like, "Why the fuck is Paul Bettany #1
Yeah.
here? Like, come on now. Like, Paul's great, but like, this is not his show in my opinion. But
The Wandavision. Yeah, I guess they're sharing.
yeah.
So they got the title. Yeah, I'm interested in if my feeling changes on like just a one sitting of the show, especially
Mhm.
watching it again, knowing what I
The
know
big
now.
movie edition.
But I think I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I again like I think my heart wants to go 10, but I do like have
With your
some
brain.
grimes going back there. Yeah, my brain stopped me from doing that. But
Yeah.
I absolutely love this. Just like last episode, I had problems with, but a lot of that got rectified with this, like today's episode. But I still was upset that we're just like out of that old school comedy stuff. Like I love that stuff. The early parts of the show, I love the comedy that they had. I loved how weird it was, and just obviously knowing what I know now, I won't ever have that like wonder of like what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
So again, I'm curious if my thought process changes on like a rewatch, but I thought this was such a good show. I thought it was so unique. It was something so new and refreshing. And I was just blown away by the performances. I've grown to love the character of Scarlet Witch. Her powers are just so beyond anything I thought was possible. I thought she was powerful when we first saw her. And like Clay said, I feel like it's just ramping up. Like this is just, like we're in the early stages of her actual full power. She's going to be learning a lot in that dark hold, and definitely in the Multiverse of Madness. I think there's going to be some wild stuff, but I love this show. 9 out of 10. So definitely delivered for me.
Taylor, you got a rating there?
It's funny because I swear that the first episode review that we did, I gave it a rating, and then it just kind of like fell to the curbside because I like doing the ratings per episode. But I just rolled
review
with
the
it.
first and last episode.
Yeah.
He's like, so here I go. I'm gonna review every episode right now.
So, I'm gonna give this probably a 9.5 out of 10, and the only reason I'm not going a
Had to
full
top me.
the only reason I'm not going a full 10 out of 10 is simply because I would have liked to have seen the multiverse break open in this series, and again, like have a bit of like Mephisto in there and all that stuff. But
And more Kat Dennings, I'm sure.
yeah, more Kat Dennings appreciation post. Yeah, I'm gonna share one tomorrow with you guys. But yeah, I definitely think that like I would not dock points for like Evan Peters or anything like that. I think it was funny, and I'm sure other people disagree with me on that. But I think the story was fantastic. I love how we got so much more character development and understanding of Wanda, and especially Vision as well. This whatever the deal is with Vision right now, I don't know, but this series has made me really, really love Vision more as a hero and a character. And again, just all that goes to Scarlet Witch as well, Elizabeth Olsen. Like the tribulations that she faced in this series was absolutely legendary, and it was just again we've seen these characters like weak parts of their life in MCU movies, but it's like we talked about on comic book virgins, where like in those arcs, so like House of M and stuff, these characters are seriously depressed and it's seriously screwed, like they're fudged up. And this was the first time that I can like fully like visually understand and see a Marvel hero totally at their worst in their life. Again, like those posts were put up where it's like after Endgame, you see everyone going back to their families, and Wanda's just like the outcast and no one's comforting her. And again, that episode we had last week where it shows her just breaking apart. Like, this series had so much weight to it, and it was just such a powerful journey for her to overcome this in this finale. So again, and them keeping the villains alive, that's always a plus, because you got to reuse those villains, you got to recycle. So
There's so many good moments in this that I honestly completely forgot about the Chris Evans thing and how he's just a nobody in my ratings.
Chris Evans, yeah, Chris Evans wasn't in this.
It is late. Evan Peters, there we
Evan
go.
Peters, there you go.
Clay, do you
Pulled a
sorry,
fast
Taylor, go
burger
ahead.
on it.
I was gonna give it a 8.9. After talking tonight, I think I am gonna give it a 9 flat. I'm not gonna hold any of the theories against this show. It is all part of the fun, even if we're wrong, because I mean it's always a 50-50 shot, for every theory. And it did bring a lot of excitement and a lot of conversation. I think that's what Disney and Marvel wanted, for sure. I love the character of Scarlet Witch. I read House of M for the very first time last year during like the very beginning of the pandemic and the shutdown. So knowing that going into this, but not knowing anything else, and just relying on the relationship that Wanda and Vision had in the MCU, as well as, her timeline through the MCU, really felt great. Well, not for her, but for me watching watching her go through like everything that she had gone through, even if like the commercials and everything, all the Easter eggs, everything, even if I didn't even catch some, was all great. Like y'all said, the villains not being not being dead. I'm telling you, Hayward's going to be the connecting villain of every MCU Disney Plus show.
He's the Avengers 5 villain.
He's gonna be in Falcon Winter Soldier. He's gonna be in Loki.
Fuck. The mega deal, the mega contract he got.
But I think that I think a 9 flat is what it deserves, or if not higher. But as of right now, there were the whole thing with the Scarlet Witch being like this whole grandiose thing that I didn't really like. I know that was a nitpick, but it does still bother me a little bit. As well as the boner, I will just say it. The boner was really irking me today. So 9 flat for me.
Yeah, I will go a 9.6 just to top Taylor Field, but no, I'm more in the 9.5. I honestly really had no problems with the show other than a few things as far as I've talked about them in this episode and previous episode. I think some of the sword stuff was a little lacking. I didn't really like it. I think it was just a little kind of basic writing, lazy writing at times, all the kind of adventures they went through, and some of the humor, I think. And to me, it was episode 4, and then it was this one where there was either too much of it or it just didn't work. Same thing, I don't hold the reveal of Quicksilver being a nobody as a negative. I hold the reveal of him being Ralph Boner, as that like okay, this joke is a negative because this is just like, what are we doing here? And I feel like there's a couple of those. Like I said, I had not a couple, but just I guess a couple is two. So I'd say a couple eye roll moments tonight had humor, but that's kind of about it as far as you could, even though the show was already short enough, I feel like you could still even chop some of the sword stuff or write it in a different way, be a bit better. Didn't need to do all this type of, I don't know, just kind of cheesy stuff we've seen before many times. But no, I think the reason it's just so high is because I absolutely love the show. I love what they did. I do think, eventually we got more generic, what we know of MCU style, and I don't mean generic, I just mean like what we know, what we have been accustomed to deal with, but that was after all this weird crap we got, and I think they took a huge risk, and because I do think it is a risk. Some people might not think that, but I think first 2 weeks easily everybody could have turned on the show and been like, what is this? And some people did, and then they came around back, but I think they took a huge risk. It paid off, and I'm very excited to see what they do with streaming. I'm very excited to see what they do with Scarlet Witch because they did a phenomenal job with this character. The whole cast, crew, everybody did a great job. Score was good. So yeah, 9.5 for me. Really enjoyed it. So thank you, fellas, for joining on this series of review. If you're listening to this, and thank you everybody in the YouTube chat that's joined us the past few weeks. If you're listening to this, next week we're going to be dropping our first episode of Comic Versions. That's going to take place as far as this, and then the week after will be Falcon and Winter Soldier. So if you're into your MCU stuff, we'll be back, and we'll be doing Snyder Cut too, but we will be back. So, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a good weekend whenever you listen to this, and we promise you it'll not be boring.
Farewell.
Bye bye.